Welcome. Today I'm going to talk about sexual assault, and it's a topic that a lot of people shy away from. Sexual assault happens in a manner of men assaulting women, women assaulting men, children being assaulted, both boys and girls. But specifically today, I want to speak about men assaulting women. I've been very lucky in my life to know so many different women, and a lot of women that I hold very near and dear to my heart. Not only in my family, but friends that I've made over the years. So much so that now I have more female friends than I do have male friends. A constant that I hear from my female friends are stories of them being almost sexually assaulted, and in many cases being sexually assaulted. Now, I understand that sexual assault is tricky because there are a lot of factors that make, sometimes it's murky, where they're drunk, things like that. I'm not talking about those instances. A lot of the instances that I'm speaking of are instances in where someone had the state of mind to say no, and their request was not taken heed to. My fundamental issue, and my issues don't really matter, but what I want to bring highlight to is that there are consequences to sexual assault that are so deep that I think people don't take into account. And obviously, if you're a person who's going to sexually assault a woman, I don't expect you to have the kind of bandwidth to understand these emotional things. But I want to say this for two reasons. I want to say this because hopefully I can reach someone who maybe doesn't understand the magnitude of sexual assault. And also, I want to speak to people who are trying to console sexual assault victims. I've had to do it. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I try to make it so that people understand that they are loved either way. What they did, they didn't bring upon themselves. It was done to them, right? With that being said, I want to tell a little story about how I kind of reached this point in my life, and it's something that I will say I think about maybe once or twice a week, and it keeps me up at night, amongst other things. But it's something that it's so fundamentally difficult for me to understand that I just try to make connections. It hurts me. I'm trying to make excuses. It hurts me. It's not being done to me, and it hurts me. But the story is, I was trying to date this girl, and it's probably the third date in, and I didn't know her very well. We were trying to get to know each other. But I remember that she told me a story about her being sexually assaulted. And I think the reason why this story stuck out to me and really made me rethink how I think of the other stories is the candidness with which she said it. I don't know her well enough, in my opinion, for her to confide in me. And the way she kind of just told the story and the attitude she had about the story, it got to me, because it was almost as if it was something she prophesized. It's something that she saw happening in her life, and she said, "Yeah, it happened." Like it's to the point where it's a factored in part of her life. She made it seem as though, and I talked to her afterwards, and I didn't want to bring it up, but I just wanted to just kind of assess how she was, and it almost seemed as though her being sexually assaulted was something that she has expected. And that's where things kind of broke down for me. No one, especially no woman, should ever have to factor into their lives that a sexual assault is happening around the corner. If that's where we are, things need to severely change, because it is so wrong for women to have to believe that sexual assault is something that will befall them in their lifetime. Sexual assault is such an invasion of someone's agency and privacy, and the long-term effects of sexual assault are so lasting that it's incomprehensible to some degree. All we have are our memories, and for you to impart a memory on a person that they have to live with for the rest of their lives is so selfish an act. And obviously these people are not great people committing a sexual assaults. But I think we need to understand that the way a sexual assault replays over and over again, the way it constitutes how a person lives their lives, is nothing that we should downplay. It should be spoken of and it should be taken into account when we're dealing with these people, women in particular, because it is such an invasion of privacy for someone to do something to you that was completely unwarranted, right? I understand you taking an action and paying a consequence. In a lot of these situations, these women did nothing to incur this kind of, selfishness and downright assault by these perpetrators. And for me, it really hurts me. And it's something that I speak to a lot of my male friends about, and I'll continue speaking to them about. And it's something that I'm happy to say I've been educated on, and I've grown in, and I read about it constantly, and I will continue to do my best to make the voices of those people heard and make them understand that I do truly care about them, and that while they might feel as though they're alone, that they're not alone. Thank you.